Hello, everybody, and welcome to 38 Weeks to Go, your weekly podcast about fantasy football. I am your host, Nash, and let's get into it. How was Gameweek 36 for you? Well, for me, let me tell you, I just need this season to end. I'm doing nothing. I am just descending into nothingness. With 40 points, I got below the average, which was 43. And it just seemed like I couldn't buy a good decision. It just felt like everything that could go wrong went wrong. Okay, having said that, I did make some good decisions. I removed Iwobi and Barnes and brought in Bowen and Shada. And I got 19 points, so that was good. I also brought in KDB because I just figured even though Man City are doing nothing, he will be good. Boy, was I wrong, because I brought him in, and not only did I bring him in, I promoted him and made him captain. Because, of course, Man City are playing Southampton. They're going to win. Wrong. Anyway, this game week was such a disappointment for me. Why? Because Pep did Pep roulette things. Haaland was back, so Haaland started. And then Mamouche is discarded. And then for no reason, Mamouche is brought on in the dying minutes of the game to give me 1 point when I had 17 points on the bench. So Mamouche comes on, he does nothing. Haaland does nothing. KDB does absolutely nothing. For whatever reason, you'd think Man City are playing Inter Milan. They could not do anything against Southampton. You wouldn't know it was the bottom side of the Premier League playing against one of the top 4 sides in the Premier League. It was unbelievable. And then Cunha decides to go and tackle a defender in the box and give away a penalty and get a yellow card and finish with 0 points. Why? Nicholas Jackson goes and gets himself sent off. I know that affected some of you guys. And I know there's some Chelsea fans or some people who believed in Chelsea and brought Palmer back in, maybe even captained him, maybe even brought in Kukureya. And that 3-piece let you down. And I am so sorry. And then Nottingham Forest, the best defense in the Premier League, can't keep Leicester out. And then Leicester, once they get confirmed to be relegated, suddenly they remember how to play football. What is that about? And then, on top of that, there were people who had triple captain Haaland, people who had triple captain Bumo, people who had triple captain just the wrong people, and it was such a disaster. And of course, there are many of you who still believe in Salah, but since game week 30, Liverpool have scored 14 goals. 14 goals. And Salah has only been involved in 2 of them. When game week 36. 6 game weeks. And then, of course, like I just told you, I brought in Shada, but majority of the people brought in Mbumo and Risa and captained both of those and got nothing. And then people have Palace players, but many people don't have Eze. People still on Mateta, yet Eze is the one who's doing everything. Some of you triple captain De Bruyne, but if you think that's bad, somebody out there triple captain Cunha. Did I mention the Nicholas Jackson red card? Painful. What a ridiculous finish we're having to this game week. And to the season. I honestly can't wait. 2 more weeks. Let's wrap this up. You know, when I'm looking at the top scoring game this weekend, it was 4 goals. And it's 2 matches. 2-2, 2-2. Liverpool versus Arsenal, and then Leicester versus Nottingham Forest. Both games were 2-2. So, let's do Nottingham Forest 2, Leicester 2. It feels like Nottingham Forest are in the opposite situation of Leicester. Before Leicester got relegated, they were really trying to not get relegated. And then once they got relegated, it's like they became free to play football. Nottingham Forest are in this place where psychologically they're torturing themselves. And instead of just playing the football that they know how to play, they seem to be unable to do it. And this is creating difficulties for them. This is why they're not winning the games they should be winning. They had chances in this game to win. Leicester just capitalized on the opportunities that fell their way. Conor Cody opened the scoring off a save from the keeper who made a good save down, and then he couldn't save the other one. And then Morgan Gibbs-White scored a beautiful header off an Elanga cross, and then Gibbs-White crossed forward a beautiful diving header. And just when you see that, it's like, yeah, the people I recommended, these are the people who did the thing. But if you're a dummy like me, you were banking on a clean sheet, and so what did you do? You doubled up on the defense, and you got 2-2. Bonanote then just scored a beautiful goal. He just cut in, dribbled everyone. Well, not everyone, just cut one guy and scored. And then that's how it ended. El Canus and Vardy with the assists, Elanga and Gibbs-White the assists for Forest. When it came to bonus points, Morgan Gibbs-White got 3, Elanga got 2, Wood got 2, and Bonanote got 2. It seems that whole tactic of betting against Leicester is over. Like, done. Now we should be betting against Tottenham and Manchester United. The other 2-2 game was a marquee game of the weekend, which saw Arsenal take on Liverpool. I'll be honest, I didn't expect Liverpool to show up in the way that they did. They fought, and they could have won this game many times over. They were the better team, champions for real, and Arsenal was second best. Apart from the goals they scored, Saka had a really good opportunity at the beginning. And when he didn't score, I was like, I'm really happy you're not in my team. This is why. But then I feel like I should have had Trossard to finish this season. He seems to be the only Arsenal player to be finishing strong. Salah, on the other hand, looks like he has gotten his contract and he is done. He's done. He has made his point. He has got his money. He's done. He's going on holiday. Now, Gakpo opened the scoring and Luis Diaz scored the second goal, and at that point I was like, oh my goodness, this thing is going to be a hammering because they just kept creating. And then Martinelli scored a header, and then Merino scored. Robertson and Szoboszlai had the assists for Liverpool, while Odegaard and Trossard had the assists for Arsenal. Salah was instrumental in the second goal, but you know how it is. If you're the guy before the guy, it doesn't matter. Gakpo got the 3 bonus points, Trossard had 2, and Luis Diaz had 1. The other marquee match for me was Newcastle 2, Chelsea 0. Tonali scored very early in the second minute, and that set the tone for the game. And then once Nicholas Jackson got himself red carded for an intentional and deliberate elbow, it was pretty much over after that. They tried, but they couldn't break down Newcastle. And then Newcastle scored a beautiful deflected goal through Bruno Guimaraes. Looked very nice. And 2-0 it was. So of course, if you had captained Isak, you're disappointed. Now, I am very happy now that I didn't captain Isak because I was worried that he would let me feel stupid. But then De Bruyne got more, so I don't know. I guess I won, but I lost still. Dan Burn and Jacob Murphy had the assists. Tonali had 3 bonus points. Dan Burn had 2, and Livramento had 1. And Dan Burn was on my bench because I expected more from Chelsea. I let myself down this week. The most disappointing match of the game week for me is clearly Southampton 0, Manchester City 0. Manchester City have been a team in good form. This game was such a disappointment. They could not challenge, they could not create. Honestly, that performance for me was a disgrace. A disgrace. Haaland looked like he hadn't played in a long time. KDB, I don't know. Foden, Doku came on. I don't know. It was just a disappointing game. If you watch that game like I did, hoping for your captain to score, at some point it just became clear that KDB was going to do nothing. Nothing. He couldn't land his passes. I was wondering, why did I do this? Because if you remember the previous week, I had spoken about how Man City were lucky to win the game against Wolves. They should have lost that game 3-1. But I just thought that they had luck on their side. And I thought that luck would continue. Honestly, I'm waiting to see who they bring in the summer because I don't know how they're going to generate goals if they can't do anything against Southampton. It's not like Man City didn't attack. It's just that the attacks didn't do much. Anyway, Ramsdale had the 3 bonus points, Ruben Diaz had 3, and Bednarek had 1. Honorable shoutouts are for Spurs losing 2-0 and Manchester United losing 2-0. But those two teams are trash right now, so I guess it's not a disappointment. One thing that made this difficult week more difficult is that people barely scored. 8 teams kept a clean sheet. So that means if you had 5 defenders in this game week, you did absolutely well. Looking at the top round performers, we have Ramsdale, 10, Flecken, 9, Martinez, Verbruggen, Areola, 8. And those are your top 5 goalkeepers. When it comes to defenders, Wan-Bissaka got 12, Munoz and Dunburn got 11, Keane and Ruben Diaz got 9. And those are your top 5 defenders. When it comes to midfield, Eze, top performing player of the week, got 16, Gibbs-White 13, Schade and Tonali got 11, Souček rounds up the top 5 with 10. When it comes to strikers, Oli Watkins, Welbeck, Raul Jimenez, Gakpo all got 9, and then Beto Wood got 8. So let's look at the stats that come out of the weekend. Liverpool failed to win a Premier League game at Anfield despite holding a 2-goal lead at halftime for the third time. The first 2 were done in 2015 against Leicester and 2016 against Newcastle. That's quite an impressive record. The gap between Liverpool's goals against Arsenal was only 87 seconds. When I was watching the game, I was like, wait, what just happened? Didn't they just kick off? Wait, what? Yep, 87 seconds. Spurs have lost 24 matches across all competitions this season, their second most ever in a single campaign, only behind the 25 in 91-92. So that means there's still time for them to win that record this year. Manchester United have suffered their 9th home Premier League defeat of the season, their joint most ever home losses in a single league season. And just like Spurs, hold my beer, it looks like it's going to be toppled by the end of the season. Chris Wood now has 100 Premier League goal involvements, 89 goals, 11 assists. He's only the second player to score 20 plus goals for Nottingham Forest in a single season. The first one to do that was, or rather the last one to do that was Stan Collymore. What a name. That man could finish. Manchester United have fallen 1-0 behind 12 times at Old Trafford in the Premier League this season. Only Leicester have conceded more at home, 15. Or rather, they've done this 15 times. Newcastle United have picked up their 20th Premier League win of the season. It is the first time they have won 20 plus games in a single season since 02-03. Jacob Murphy has assisted 12 goals in the Premier League this season, the most by a Newcastle player in a campaign since 99-2000, which was done by Norberto Solano, who had 15. Oli Watkins is now Aston Villa's top scorer with 75 goals. Nicholas Jackson has received more cards, which are 4, in the Premier League this year than he has direct goal involvements. Harry Kane finally wins a trophy. Congratulations to him. Spurs have lost 20 games in a Premier League campaign for the first time in their club history. Only 3 players have registered 25 plus direct goal contributions in the Premier League this season. Mo Salah, Isak 29 and Bumo 25. He's having a great season. On this game week in 2022, KDB scored 30 points, not 3 like he did this game week. Bumo was the most captained player this game week with 68% choosing him as captain. KDB was captained by 11% and Haaland was captained by 5%. Top transfers in this week: Watkins brought in by 76,000, Eze brought in by 40,000, makes sense. Beto brought in by 29,000, Schade brought in by 29,000, and Wissa brought in by 26,000. Top players out: Mamouche removed by 101,000, Isak removed by 31,000, Cunha removed by 27,000, Fernandes removed by 24,000, Salah removed by 20,000. Like I said before, the average of the game week was 43. So if you got 43 and above, well done. If you didn't, Polly. This game week's leader got 124 points. The team name is It's Not Coming Home. Probably an Arsenal fan, right? Anyway, used his bench boost. Pickford, 3 points in goal. Konsa, 5. Brunthwaite, 2. Dan Burn, 11. Captain Eze, 32 points. Well done. 6 for Rogers, 3 for Barnes, 8 for Bowen, 13 for Gibbs-White, 9 for Watkins, 2 for Delap, 6 for Henderson in goal on the bench, Gay, 7, Wan-Bissaka, 12, and Vardy, 5. That's a great bench boost. I mean, 30 points from the bench is incredible. When it comes to 38 weeks to go, our tally leader is Talvin Mudoga. Team name Spatharo Candidatos. He got 78 points. In goal, he had Areola, who gave him 8. Vardiol, who gave him 6. Virgil van Dijk, who gave him 1. Munoz, who gave him 11. Salah gave him 2. Shada gave him 11. Bomo was his captain and gave him 12. Eze gave him 16. Isak gave him 2. Mamouche gave him 1. And Wood gave him 8. And that's how he got 78. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it all added up. The top 5 tally getters in our league were, after Talvin, Davis Otara, who got 75 points, Christy Cadavillis, 75 points, a Euros boss team Control Alt Dele, 72, and Texas Tens got 71. Christy, Euro, and Texas Tens are having a strong end to the season. When it comes to the most transfers made this week, can you guess who it is? You're wrong, it's not Don Clinton. This week, it is Dennis Odera, made 5 transfers this week. Davis Otara made 4, Mike Mbogwa and Edwin Aor made 4, along with Victor Nyobala and Cakes Cakes, and those are the top 6. Highest change in team value belongs to Arnold Midunga, who saw his team value increase by 0.7. Christy Cardovillis is our overall rank riser this week. Jumped 336,000 positions. Well done to you. In our league, Pablo Hernandez Museve jumped 16 positions. Well done to you. Suraj Baigane is finishing the season still with the highest team value at 106.4. When it comes to streak of red arrows, Abdiaziz Guled is still struggling. 13th red arrow week in a row. When it comes to the team with the lowest value, it is Malik United. Their team has a value of 96.5. And sticking with Malik United has the least points this week with 24. And unlike other weeks, this is actually an active team. Raya 2, Konate 1, Pedro Porro 0, Faish 1, Rogers 6, Bumo 6, Mitoma 1, Salah Captain 4, Mamouche 1, Isak 2, and Cunha 0. Tough. The bottom 5 in points this week: Malik United 24, Infinite Stars 25, The Boost FC 25, Abdullahi Absolutely Nobody Knew 25, and number 5, Mabazu Walebo 25. Seems like 25 was the magic number. When it comes to league drops, Aaron Windy, manager of Major Guns, dropped 16 positions on the table. When it comes to disappointing transfer outcomes, Bruce's set pieces would have fared 16 points better had they not made a change. But funny enough, he got 62, so that's not too bad. Dennis Odera, 15 points lost. Victor Nyabola, 14 points lost. Joe Bogwa, 12 points. And Dennis Alubiri, 12 points. Most points on the bench belongs to none other than Playboy Fatty, managed by Amos Langat. He left 31 points on the bench. Goodness, just 9 more and he would have got 40 like me. And the worst part about that is Mr. Playboy Fatty used their bench boost. It's so painful. Mitchell got 6, Wan-Bissaka got 12, Shada got 11. And you see his defense, 1-1. Oh, Cunha 0. Bisa captain. Oh, that's painful. In second place was a tie with 31 points on the bench as well. Henderson 6, Munoz 11, Rogers 6, Mikolenko 8. Just in case you thought there was only one way to skin a cat. Worst team value change. La Grana, Low K, has lost 1 million in value. Major Guns has dropped 307,000 ranks globally. When it comes to streaks of green arrows, Jayaram Prajapati has been rising for the 8th week in a row. Well done to you, sir. When it comes to team with the most goal scorers, Nikola Mislenovic has 5 goals scored by his players. That's quite low. It wasn't a great week. Now, Dream FC has 24 points gained by making good transfers. In second position is Luffy D, 22, Playboy Fatty, 19, Abel Kibunja, 15, and in number 5, Telvin Mundoga, 10 points. Well done, keep making those good decisions. Salah was the most popular captain this week in our group, with 65 people choosing him as captain. Bumo was the second most popular captain choice this week in our group, with 47 people choosing him as captain. Isak was captained by 20 people. Marmoush was captained by 18 people. De Bruyne was captained by 18 people. Haaland was captained by 16 people. Palmer was captained by 12 people. Wisa was captained by 10 people. Wood was captained by 6 people. Bruno was captained by 5 people. Cunha was captained by 3. Saka was captained by 3. Solanke captained by 2. Kluivert captained by 2. Sarr, Gibbs-White, Barnes, Højlund, Vardiol, Delap, Trossard, Odegaard, Martinelli captained by 1 person. For the first time in a long time, there has been absolutely no change to our table. From number 1 to number 11, everybody is in the same position they were in. Does that mean, that the table is done? Not quite. At top, we have Texas Tens, 2468 points. Number 2, Dubois, FBL, 2445 points. Number 3, Reese's Set Pieces, 2440 points. Now with those points on the bench, they could have done much better. Yusufa Mokoko, 2426. Abdallah Kili, 2421. David Moy, 2419. Number 7, Charles Cardovelis, 2392. Number 8, Otio Mondi, 2386. Number 9, Mark Mutegi, 2377. And number 10, Alan Mushangi, 2375. 100 points from number 1 is now number 12. The gap is shrinking. I guess it's tough now. At the bottom, Don Clinton has finally crossed the 1200 point mark, which puts him less than half of what number 1 has. In second last position, Duncan Anzigare, 1261. Don Clinton has 1206. Gift Umlangi, 1358. Then number 233, 1502. And fifth from bottom is 1514. So you can see that hasn't changed at all. The bottom 5 has been the same for a while now. When it comes to the global ranking, number 1 is Lovro Bodisin, 83 points. Areola in goal, he bet against Manchester United, you bastard. Munoz, 11, Livramento, 7, Vardiol, 6, Bowen, 8, Eze, 16, Salah, 2, Mbomo captain, 12, De Bruyne, 3, Wood, 8, Saka, 2. A good defense really carried people this week. Number 1 is now 42 points clear, and it looks like Lovro will be the winner this year. Now, as we look forward to the next week, the thing you must know is that the game week starts on Friday. Why? Because Tottenham and Manchester United have been granted early games to prepare for the Europa League final. So both teams will be playing on Friday night. That's very rare to have 2 teams play on one night, but I guess they must prepare. So we see Aston Villa take on Tottenham and Chelsea take on Manchester United. And honestly, at this point, I'm calling it already. Chelsea will beat Manchester United and Aston Villa will beat Tottenham. That's just the form these guys have been in. Horrible form in the Premier League. Aston Villa have won 3 of their previous 5 encounters. There's only been 1 clean sheet in this game. And honestly, Villa for the win. Villa won 1-0 last time out, while Tottenham were beaten 2-0 out last time they played. Now, Aston Villa will be favourites. Honestly, I believe Watkins, Rogers, and Asensio should be your favourites. And if you're feeling a bit lucky, you could have a defender. On the Spurs side, Pedro Porro, Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson. That feels reasonable to me. Chelsea and Manchester United drew the last time they played. But outside that, it's been 2 draws, 2 wins for Manchester United and 1 win for Chelsea. Now, because of Man United's form and just the recent track record, I just believe that Chelsea will win this game. However, if you still believe that Manchester United will win, honestly, as you know, it's going to be Garnacho, Fernandes, and Ahmad as your best contenders. Now, Man United were beaten last time out by West Ham 2-0. They lost. I would like to say that they're going to do better, but they're not. Chelsea were beaten. I would say the red card had something to do with it, and so I can't really judge them on that. Nicholas Jackson will not play this game. He is obviously suspended. And the reason I'm not going over the injuries is because it's still too early in the week to know who will not be playing. So just check closer to the end of the week. On the Chelsea end, Nkunku is out and Jackson out, so there will be a bit of a struggle for a striker. So it will be interesting to see who they play up there. So Neto, Madueke, Palma, Enzo Fernandez are your best players in this encounter, and those are the players you should choose. And of course, by that I mean, look at the one that fits your budget and the one that you think. I'm personally thinking Enzo has a good chance and Palma, but those would be my first 2 choices. There will be no fixtures on Saturday because of the FA Cup final between Manchester City and Crystal Palace. So then Sunday we'll see Everton take on Southampton. And I'm hoping Southampton will be better than Manchester City. Isn't that ridiculous? Everton beat Fulham last time out, 3-1. They're in good form. Southampton managed to not be beaten, which is very impressive. Southampton beat Everton last time they played, so they'll be looking to repeat that. Now, of course, Everton will want to do better than last time out. I think Beto, Doucouré, and a defender would be good from Everton. On the Southampton end, Gelson, Fernandes, Onuahu, and maybe Archer. And those would be the 3 prospects I would be looking at from both sides. West Ham versus Nottingham Forest. At the end of the Nottingham Forest game against Leicester, which they somehow didn't win, Marianakis, who I've mentioned before, came onto the pitch to just berate Nuno Espirito Santo. His team is cracking. They just can't compose themselves. And so this game is a must-win. I mean, all games are must-win for Forest, but this one is the must-win of the must-wins. Now, they are better than West Ham, and hopefully they win, mainly because I have 2 defenders from that team. So it's more like my biased opinion. Now, West Ham beat Manchester United last time out in a bottom place game, and that saw them overtake Manchester United. Last time out, Forest beat West Ham 3-0, and the time before that they beat them 2-0. So their recent form is encouraging, and they've kept 2 clean sheets. So I would be hopeful for a continuation of the same if you're a Forest person. Also, in that regard, Elanga, Wood, and Morgan Gibbs-White are the 3 best options going forward. And then defense, Sells, and your favorite defender. Now, I would be looking to go forward with them rather than remain back, if that makes sense. So if you're stuck with somebody like Mateta or maybe Mamouche or Cunha, Wood wouldn't be a bad replacement for that. On the West Ham end, it's quite simple. You have Bowen, Souček, Wan-Bissaka, and Kudus. Maybe in that order. Brentford take on Fulham, and the last time these 2 met, Fulham scored 2 goals in the 90-plus minutes to win the game through Harry Wilson. And also, if you watch the Everton game, Harry Wilson was their most dangerous player. Brentford, in their last game, won 1-0. Thankfully, I had Mr. Shada. And they created a lot of half chances. Nothing really serious to write about. And I know if many of you have been captaining Bumo or Wisa, I'm sure you're burnt out by that decision. And so I also wouldn't encourage you to captain them, but I wouldn't encourage you to get rid of them. So if you're getting Fulham players, Harry Wilson, Emil Smith-Rowe, and Raul Jimenez. On the Brentford end, I believe Wisa, Mbeumo, Shada are your best options. Leicester versus Ipswich. At this point, Vardy is a good pick. Bonanote is a good pick. Ipswich, Delap, and Hurst, and Hutchinson. If you look at their previous 5 games, you wouldn't believe this. 1-1, 1-1, 1-1, and then Leicester won 2 games. So it's always close. So also don't get into this game for this fixture. But since we have to discuss it, that is it. Arsenal versus Newcastle. Let me read you their previous results. 2-0 to Newcastle, 2-0 to Newcastle, 1-0 to Newcastle, 4-1 to Arsenal, 1-0 to Newcastle. So 4 out of 5 times there's been a clean sheet. So my Newcastle defender will start this game. Arsenal drew last time out with who? Liverpool, 2-2. Good game. They were lucky to not lose. Newcastle beat Chelsea and they were the better team. Recent history favors Newcastle over Arsenal, and I'm just going to continue with that belief. So I'm not sure if you want Isak to be your guy, but Murphy and Gordon scored in the previous one. Isak and Gordon scored in the other one. Isak scored. So Isak, Gordon, and Murphy would be good players to choose. On the Arsenal end, I would say Trossard, Martinelli, and Odegaard. Odegaard has been sneaky good of late. It doesn't quite show, but he has been good when you watch the games. Brighton take on Liverpool. Brighton beat Wolves 2-0 out last time, and Liverpool drew with Arsenal 2-2. I thought they were on a break, but clearly they're not. Now, in the recent head-to-head, Liverpool have the advantage, having won 3, drawn 1, and lost 1. Given the way they played, I stand to be corrected. I think they're just going to finish competitively. Now, the question is, do you still think Salah is the man? He was last time out, but I would lean towards Gakpo in this one. The problem is he rotates Diaz a lot, so you don't know if he will play. Because, like, for example, Diaz played the last one, but Jota played the other one. So it might be Jota back. So I would go with Gakpo, and if you have Salah, don't remove him, just keep him. And McAllister or Soboslai. On the Brighton end, you know it's going to be either Welbeck or some new guy. Gruder scored this last time. Who the hell is Gruder? Last time out, it was Ayari. So now, just look at Brighton's team and just say, who do you think will score? And look at the name that you haven't seen before, and that's the guy who will score. Tuesday, we'll see Crystal Palace take on Wolves. And this game should be fun, unless you own Mateta. Honestly, at this point, I'm done with Mateta. I hope many of you are. The previous 5 head-to-head matches go like this. 2-2, 3-1 to Palace, 3-1 to Palace, 3-2 to Palace, 2-0 to Wolves. So when Palace win, it's 3. When Wolves win, it's 2. So if you believe in the 3, what do we say? Right now, honestly, just choose Munoz, choose Eze, choose Sar. Wolves, of course, you know, it's just the usual suspects. You have Aitnuri, Cunha, Strand-Larsen. And if you don't choose Strand-Larsen, take Munetsi or Bellegarde. In their last 5 encounters, Manchester City have played Bournemouth and beaten them 4 out of 5 times. However, most recently, when they were going through their horrible form, Bournemouth beat them 2-1. Now, this is all about what you believe when it comes to Man City. I have been watching them and I am underwhelmed now, especially now that I had 3 players from their team. That was painful. Haaland is back. And now when I look at the last encounter, when they won 2-1, Haaland scored, Mamouche scored, and Renilson scored. So now if you want Man City players, Haaland will start, you know this. KDB, and if you believe Mamouche will play, if you think Pep will correct his mistake and play Mamouche on the wing instead of either Foden or Doku, then that is a good decision. For Bournemouth, you know it's Evanilson, Kluivert, and Semenyo. Semenyo made a mistake which led to the goal, and I think he will have learnt from that one. When it comes to choosing a captain, Aston Villa taking on Spurs, honestly, Watkins is a great choice. Chelsea versus Manchester United. I wouldn't blame you if you chose Palmer, but also now, how many times do you want to bet on Chelsea before you learn? Everton versus Southampton. Beto is looking good to me right now. West Ham versus Forest. Wood and Bowen are looking good. Wood has been in good form and Bowen has been great of late. Brentford versus Fulham. Honestly, if you choose Wissa, Mbumo, Shada, Raul Jimenez, I wouldn't blame you. Leicester versus Ipswich. I don't know why you choose a captain from this game. Arsenal, Newcastle, Isak, or a defender. Liverpool versus Brighton. Honestly, this wouldn't be the game I jump for a captain, but I guess many of you will still choose Salah. Crystal Palace versus Wolves. Honestly, at this point, Eze's form is almost undeniable. He's the most obvious captain choice in this game, followed by Cunha. Man City, it really depends on what you believe. I wouldn't personally captain anybody in this game, but you know that the dead teams have Haaland, so they will captain Haaland. Yeah, unless you're captaining a defender, I wouldn't captain somebody in this game. This is a game week for hit or miss, big swings. Just do your best, guys. Finish strong. There's no FDR because there's only one game week left. Have a great week. See you on Friday. Bye.